Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be putting on tassels on our Zulu belt. So this is the belt that we did in our previous tutorial, and this is it's completed. So what you'll need is your belt. You will need your beads. I am using plastic beads, and you will also need your needle and thread. And what I've done with the thread is that I've only folded it over once, and then at the end of the thread I've just tied 2 knots like so. She won't focus, but like so. There you go. So I've tied 2 knots, one on top of the other. Okay, so what you have to do first with this tutorial is you have to decide whether you want your tassels to flow from, if it is a triangle pattern like so, you see that one side, one end is white and then one end is black. So what you're going to decide is how you want your tassels to flow. Do you want them to flow out of the white end or the black end? I want mine to flow from the black end, this side. So, and also what I'm going to do with my tassels is I want them to be very, very long, almost resembling a skirt. Okay, so you can make your tassels of any length, but I want mine to be long. And these are the beads that I'm going to be using. I'm very, very scarce on white beads right now, but we'll make it happen. We'll make it work. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, first of all, we'll grab our belts, right? And we've picked the side that we want our tassels to flow from. Yeah. And then what we do is we now have to look for where our thread sort of comes out in the belt, because that is where we sort of will be taking out our needle from. So if you look at your belt, you'll notice that there's 2 beads next to each other that have a thread between, and there's 2 beads without a thread between. So we will be taking out our belts from the 2 beads with a thread between. And also we want our belts to be very, very full in this tutorial. So we will be putting in tassels on every single 2 beads. Okay, but if you want your beads, if you want your belt to not have that many threads, you can skip a few. Okay, so let's begin. So we'll start off by inserting our needle. What you do is you see these little circles that your pattern makes. You find the nearest one to your exit point here where the 2 beads meet. Okay, I feel like it's going blurry, so let's find a way to remove this so we can focus just on here only. Okay, I hope that's better. So we find the exit point and we will insert our needle firstly into here. Okay, push our needle through and pull all the way through. Now this knot that we've tied will stop the thread from going all the way through, but what you want to do is you want to just pull it a little out until it makes that sound. Okay, so then the thread goes through, not completely through, but you want your thread within this bead. Okay, you want your knot within this bead for neatness. Okay, so I'm going to insert my needle, pull it all the way through, and then I'm going to hold the tail a little and then just pull a little bit. Okay, just pull a little while holding the tail, and your knot has disappeared into your bead. Okay, so now where my thread comes out, by the way, this is upholstery thread I'm using. upholstery thread, and this time it's not white, it's sort of a mustard color. Where I buy my thread, they didn't have the white thread, so this one was fine for me. So now, do you see where my thread comes out of? What I will do is I will go into, let's look carefully. So this is my thread, right? I will go into make a circle around that bead, okay? And make sure my thread comes out. I'm sort of hooking my thread around that bead, but not the bead itself, the thread right at the top. And then I'm going to leave a little bit of thread, and I'm going to push my thread through, my needle through like so, and make a knot, okay? You're still holding your tail, right? You're holding your tail, and I will pull. I've made a knot and I've secured my thread, okay? It's now nice and secure. So I've secured my thread in a knot just to make sure that when I work, it doesn't pull through, okay? So now I will carry on and insert it into the next bead and make sure that I pull all the way through, okay? See, it's pulled. And then you'll just follow the pattern, go into the next bead, and I pull my thread. So now you see I'm nearby the point where I'm supposed to come out. So I just insert my thread and I pull her all the way through, okay? So now I am at my exit point here, where I'm supposed to now start my tasseling of my belt, okay? So I'm going to grab my beads now. And next, in order to tassel my belt and add tassels on my belt, I have to figure out the pattern that I want my tassels to hang on, okay? So I'll just pick up beads and make a pattern out of them. It doesn't have to be anything specific, just, excuse me, as long as it looks nice to you. So I want to start with black beads, and I want mine to be very long. So I think I'll grab 10 black beads. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll grab 10 black beads. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've grabbed 10 black beads and I push them to the very end. And now that I'm looking at these 10 black beads, I want more, okay? So this is what I mean when I say there's no specific way to do it, because I want my tassels to be quite long and this is short. So I'm gonna grab 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. So now I have 20 black beads, okay? So I want to make a pattern. So I think I'm just gonna grab 5 white beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I'm gonna grab 10. Let's do 10. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 20 black and 10 white, okay? So I'm loving the length that this tassel is bringing me, but I still want to carry on making a nice pattern. So I'm going to add 5 black beads. 5, push them into the pattern, push them into the pattern, and then to finish off and to close off this tassel, I want to make that little flower at the end. So what I do is I want to grab 3 white beads. So 1, 2, 3 white beads. I want to push my white beads into my pattern, my tassel pattern. Now what I do is, okay, so now I've inserted my 3 white beads at the end. Okay, so now I want to create that 3 flower pattern. So what I want to do now is I want to skip these 3 beads, like these 1, 2, 3 beads here. I want to skip the 3 white beads and insert my needle into the first black bead. Okay, so I insert my needle and I pull all the way through. Okay, and it's going to create that 3 flower pattern. Do you see it? This sort of pattern here will be created. Now, after creating my end flower, I just want to insert my needle throughout my entire pattern now, okay? And go all the way back up into my belt. So I will then start to insert up until I get back to the belt, okay? And I'll keep on inserting and tightening as I go, because it has to be nice and tight. Not too tight, but nice and tight. Okay. I push through until we get back to the belt. Okay, so now we are at the belt. We've inserted until the very last bead in our tassel, and it's nice and snug. This is our 1 tassel. So now, oh, sorry, what I will do is I will insert my needle into the next bead right next door and into the one following that one. So the 2 beads that separate these 2, I'll insert into both, and then I will pull my needle until it comes out of the 2 beads that have a thread in between them. Okay, so this is my tassel that I went with. This is the pattern I went with. You can go with any pattern, but my beads are kind of scarce, especially the white beads. They're very sparse right now. So this is my first tassel. So let's create a second one, and I have to make it exactly like this one so that my entire belt, when I'm done with it, these tassels will flow in a beautiful pattern together. So now I have done my 20 black beads. Now it's time to grab my 10 white beads. So here we go. Here are my 10 white beads, and then I grabbed my 5 black beads and then my 3 white beads, okay? And then again, I will insert my needle. When I insert, I skip these 3 white beads. Now, I skip them and I go into my black bead. This one, my first black bead. I insert my needle and I pull to make it nice and snug, okay? Here we go, my second tassel. Now I have to take my thread and needle all the way through until I get to the belt. So now we've reached the point where we are at our belt. So again, nice and tight, we put in our needle to the bead right next door. We put it through again to the next one until we come out at the place where there is a thread in between the 2 beads, okay? And then again, we will repeat that and put in another tassel, okay? So I'll be back when I've done. Okay, so here I am at the end. Now what I do is I insert my needle into the black bead. I pull to make my end flower and I will push my needle all the way up. Okay, so now I'm at the very top. So now if you look, I've run out of thread. So what am I supposed to do? I will take my needle, insert into the next bead like how we've been doing all along, and I will then take my scissors and cut here at my needle, cut the thread at my needle. I'm going to grab more thread and thread it through my needle, okay? So I grab more thread and I thread it through my needle. Make sure that I get a nice amount of thread. On my needle. And again, I'm just doing one single thing of thread wrapped around, like doubled up, like twice, like so. Okay. And then I will tie my 2 knots at this thread, one on top of the other. Okay, here's my knots. And then I will insert my needle at the last bead where the previous thread went into. So I will insert my needle like so, and then I will tie a knot with the new thread and the old thread. I will tie a knot, okay, a knot, and pull until this knot has gone through this thread, okay? But just for safety, let me do 2 knots with the old thread and the new thread. I'll do 2 knots. Make it nice and snug. And then now I have my new line of thread. I will insert this new line of thread into the next part here, okay? And pull until those knots are now hidden. So no knots are now showing, all the knots are hidden. Okay, and don't pull too hard, just pull nice and gently until the knots go into your beads. Okay, so now I will just carry on as I've been doing. After inserting my new thread, I will carry on as I've been doing, carry on making my tassels. Okay, so now we've reached the end of our tassel. We make our flower by inserting into our first black bead, so our fourth bead from the bottom of whatever pattern it is that you are doing, your fourth bead from the bottom. You make your 3-bead flower, you pull your needle all the way up until you get back to your belt. Okay, so now I've made my next tassel, I've gone through to the next bead. So basically what you have to do is you have to insert your thread properly, make sure that you tie a knot to secure it, and then figure out your pattern, straighten out your pattern, and then when you get to the end, make sure to make your little flower with the 3 beads, insert into the 4th bead, and then you carry on just like that until you reach the very end of your belt. Okay, y'all, so this is the final product, and this is what I meant when I said I want it to be long, sort of like it's a skirt. But honestly, I would have loved it if it was much longer than this, but this is the final product. This is the original belt, and then I added on the tassels, and this is why you had to go down with the same number of beads on each and every tassel, because when it comes together it needs to make a pattern. So this is our final look. I love it so much, and thank you so much for joining me. Please don't forget to comment, like, share, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.